Part 3. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 21. A family of 3 came out of the peacock garden. The young wife hugged her husband with one arm and held the fat son with the other, looking happy and happy. "Hey, husband, let's go boating," the wife shook her husband's arm. The husband looked at her and said, "Where can there be rowing boats in the zoo?" Look, it says on the sign, cruise ship." My wife pointed to a wooden sign on the side of the road. The paint on the sign was brightly colored and it was obviously newly established. "What fun is rowing? You are such an adult, why are you still acting like a child?" The husband shook his head disapprovingly. Go, I want to row a boat," the wife shook her husband's arm coquettishly. The fat son also joined in and said with a pout, Dad, I want to row too, I want to row too." "Hey, I can't stand you two, go ahead and go rowing." Outside Hyukyu, several young students followed the signs at the cruise ship station and walked in the direction of Feng Shui Pavilion. "I really don't understand you guys. What's the point of rowing a boat? It just floats on the water. I'm bored anyway, just passing the time. It's better to go rowing in the city park, there are assault boats there. How exciting. Go to the zoo to row. Are you sick?" By the small lake of Tingshui Pavilion, 8 cruise ships have been lined up and tied with cables to the small pier on the shore. There is also a big sign erected next to the pier. "Self-guided boat cruise, 40 per hour, 1 hour each time, pay attention to safety, no joking." A family of 3 walked out of the woods outside the peacock garden. The husband saw the sign and frowned slightly. "What do you mean by a self-guided cruise? It's so expensive? The bumper boats in the city park only cost 30, but here they actually cost 40. Let's go. No more fun. Mom, look, kitty." The fat son's attention was attracted by several cats wandering by the lake. Some of the cats were lying by the river basking in the sun, while others were standing by the water, carefully testing the water with their front paws. There was also a big black cat, motionless, sitting on a large iron box, looking around with wide eyes. The wife pouted and said, "Oh, it's only 10 yuan more. You're so boring even though you're here. Look at how nice the environment here is, with mountains, water and cats." "There are no cats, just a few wild cats." The husband was a little helpless, but he couldn't resist his wife and son, so he could only say, Okay, 10 yuan more is 10 yuan. "Hey, is there anyone? Let's row." There was no ghost around. He shouted a few times at the top of his lungs, and then a young man wearing blue overalls ran out of the waterside pavilion. "Hey, let's row a boat," the husband waved to Su Ming. Su Ming hurriedly trotted up to him. "Sorry, I have to go to the wolf house." "If you want to row a boat, just give the money to the cats." "What? Give the money to the cat? Did I hear that right?" The man was stunned for a moment, and when he came to his senses, Su Ming had already run away. He looked at the cat, then at Su Ming who was walking away, and finally at his wife, and said in a daze, "Is that man's brain broken?" "Yeah, what do you mean by giving money to a cat?" My wife also felt very strange. But the fat son looked innocent. He put one hand on his waist and pointed to a few cats playing not far away with the other. He said in a sweet voice, "You 2 idiots, quickly spend your boating money, give it to those cats." "Silly son, how can a cat collect money?" The wife patted her son's head and smiled dotingly. "It's inexplicable. Ignore him. Since no one cares, let's just have fun for a while without spending money." The husband didn't think too much. After seeing that no one was nearby, he went up to untie the cable of a bumper boat. As soon as he approached the cruise ship, 2 cats playing in the water suddenly ran over and stood between him and the cruise ship. Their backs were arched and their tails were straight, and they barked at him. "Eh? What do you mean? Do you really need to give them money? The husband was stunned. Meow 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 meow. Meows 3 and Meow 4 also gathered around, blocking the edge of the cable, and waving their little paws at him, looking fierce as if I opened this mountain and planted this tree, and if I don't pay, I will get out. Dad, give them your money. The husband actually took out a 50-50 note, shook it at Meow as if it was a joke, and said to his wife with a smile, I don't believe this cat can really know money. You are a bad person, and you deliberately gave me a 50 yuan. Do you think the cat will ask you for 10 yuan? The wife was coquettish, and gently slapped her husband, but her eyes were extremely curious and she kept looking at Meow. 1. Unexpectedly, Meow Yi opened his mouth, picked up her husband's 50 yuan, turned around and ran away. No way, you robbed my money and ran away, the husband laughed. Meow Yi did not run away, but stuffed the money into the box under the big black cat, then ran back with a piece of money from the box and handed it to her husband. Hey! I'm really good at changing money. The husband looked at the $10 bill in his hand, and his eyes almost dropped. The young wife burst out laughing, hey, this is so interesting. Give me another one and try it. While talking, he took another 100 and gave it to Meow Er. Meow Er followed the same pattern and found 60 back. The whole family was extremely happy now. This was more fun than the circus. The couple was young and curious. They gave money several times. The cats could get back the money every time. Then they took out some money of different denominations and teased the cats. Hey, give it 85 yuan bills, it doesn't recognize them. Try again, 2 10 yuan bills and 1 20 yuan bill, ha ha ha, it doesn't work. I wonder if coins will work. The family had a lot of fun. In the end, they found that the cats were not omnipotent. They could only recognize bills of the same denomination, and no more than 3 bills. Each time they collected money, they only collected 40. They also didn't know how to add or subtract different denominations. They could only give 100 or 50. This is reasonable, which means it is well trained. Otherwise, it would really be a divine cat. The husband just finished speaking, and suddenly seemed to remember something. He slapped his forehead heavily and said in doubt, this is not right. We haven't even boarded the boat yet, and we have been coaxed by these little guys for more than 500 yuan. Ha ha ha, we are a pair of idiots. The wife didn't care about the money. She took a photo of the cat with her mobile phone and collected the money, and left. After spending more than 500 yuan, the family satisfied their curiosity and finally stopped playing with the cats and got on a bumper boat. The fat son wanted to play with the cats for a while, but after the cats received the money, they were lazy and refused to move. Greedy ghost, the fat son said indignantly, and stretched out his hand to his mother, Mom, give me 50 yuan. The husband glared, don't make a fuss, don't make a fuss, we have spent more than 500 yuan, enough to buy a cat. After a while, the group of students from before also came. Oh my god, 40 yuan an hour? So expensive. Since we're here, let's have some fun, a girl said coquettishly. Where's the administrator? Where's the administrator? Is there anyone? We want to row a boat, the students shouted loudly, but there was no administrator. On the lake, the fat son rolled his hands into a trumpet shape, lying on the side of the bumper boat, and shouted to the students excitedly, give the money to the cat, give the money to the cat. Ah, several students looked confused. Meow. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 22. In the Tingfeng Pavilion, Su Ming opened a bag of cat food and poured it into a row of small bowls in front of him. Dehe led Miao I to Miaozi, one cat with one bowl, and buried his head in eating. Well done, everyone has worked hard. Su Ming sat cross-legged on the bed like a landlord, opened the money box and counted, a total of 880 yuan. Su Ming did not go far today. It was the first day of the cruise ship opening, and he was not at ease to be a hands-off boss, really leaving everything to the cat. After a brief tour of the wolf house, he turned back and hid in the woods not far away to secretly observe the situation on the lake. There were only 6 groups of tourists today. Although the total income was not much, everyone who came paid for the boat. Among them, there were many people, such as the young couple, who spent a lot of money to play with the cats. These people will become free promoters, and as more and more people come in the future, the income will continue to increase. There is nothing special about boating itself. If you want to attract people, you have to make some gimmicks. Su Ming has been training these cats to collect money these days, which is novel and in line with the characteristics of the zoo itself. Theoretically, pets like cats and dogs can indeed do simple money recognition and even change after training. Of course, this requires long-term professional training, which is often only possible in professional circuses. Su Ming was not good at the beginning, because his mental power was not enough. Later, with the monkey wine, his mental power skyrocketed every day, and he finally made these cats recognize common money and do simple addition and subtraction. With Su Ming's current mental power level, if he wants, he can even let the cats recognize all denominations of money and make change skillfully, but that is too shocking. And you, although you have no credit, you have also worked hard. Go out and don't bite the big-headed catfish. Su Ming snapped his fingers at the alligator turtle that was peeking out of the door. As Su Ming became stronger day by day, the alligator turtle became more honest day by day, and even showed a flattering mood today. As a reward, Su Ming gave it an hour to go out in the lake every day. If it was obedient, the time for going out would be increased in the future. If it was not obedient, Su Ming would naturally have a way to deal with it. The alligator snapping turtle nodded its head and left with many thanks. Su Ming quietly allocated a trace of his mental power to it, observing its movements at any time. Hey, Lao Su. Oh my god, how did you do it? Those cats are amazing. Wang Hao was on the other end of the phone, his voice excited. How did you know? Su Ming was stunned. He didn't tell this kid about the cat. You can go and see, it's all over the Yang Chuan forum, Wang Hao said. Yang Chuan forum is a semi-official forum in Yang Chuan City, with hundreds of thousands of registered users, most of whom are people working and living in Yang Chuan City, and are quite well known. Su Ming opened the forum and saw a post floating at the top, pinned at a glance. A cat that collects money appeared in the zoo. The post seemed to be posted by the young couple in the daytime. I am going to the zoo with my husband and daughter today. Pictures speak louder than words. Below are more than a dozen photos of cats collecting and changing money, as well as photos of a big black cat guarding the money box in a serious manner. Together with the pictures, the story describes their family's experience today. The post was posted at 7:30 p.m., and it is only 10:30 now. In just 3 hours, there have been more than 1,000 replies, and the number of views is approaching 100,000. Is it true? Is it a circus cat that escaped? It must have been trained. Aren't cats pets? What's so strange about this? You idiot, train one for me. You have never kept a pet before, right? Although it is difficult, it can be trained. You can go to Baidu and search for American Golden Retrievers shopping in supermarkets and you will know. Besides, they are cats from the zoo. Cats are so cute and sweet, I am about to melt. The girl above is wet, remember to hold an umbrella downstairs. Get lost. Please stop talking about cats. What do you have to do with girls? You rascal upstairs. Our classmates were there today and can testify that those cats are awesome. Let's go boating at the zoo tomorrow to see the cats that collect money. Anyone want to go? Let's go, let's go. Su Ming was very satisfied. The publicity effect met his expectations. It attracted attention and made an advertisement without spending money, while keeping the sensational effect within the acceptable range of ordinary people's thinking. In addition to curiosity, some people in the post also raised doubts. If there is no administrator, who will rescue tourists if they fall into the water? Will someone rob the money box? It's impossible for the cat to distinguish between real money and fake money. Will someone use fake money? Su Ming was not afraid of doubts. No matter what it is these days, the more people question and argue, the more popular it will be. If no one cares, it will be a real trouble. As for the problems mentioned in the post, he naturally considered them. These past 2 days, I was exhausted from using my mental power to train the cat. Su Ming changed his shift to the afternoon shift today and planned to have a good sleep. Before 10 o'clock in the morning, he was woken up by the noise outside the pavilion. I really want to stay in bed for a while, Su Ming yawned. Living in the park also has its troubles. Tourists come and go, which will inevitably disturb people's sweet dreams, but they can't be driven away. Since I couldn't sleep anyway, I got up and washed up casually, then put on my coat and went outside the pavilion. I saw that all 8 boats had already sailed onto the lake. Not far away, there was a group of tourists queuing up at the lakeside, taking photos of the cats collecting money with their mobile phone cameras. The people in the front of the line were not in a hurry to get on the boat, but waved the colorful money around, deliberately teasing a few cats. Not far away, there were 2s and 3s of tourists walking towards the side from the path in the woods. It seemed that they also came here because of its reputation. Until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when Su Ming came back from feeding the animals and the zoo was about to close, there were still many people gathered outside the pavilion. Su Ming had to come forward and persuade everyone to leave. Counting the money in the box, there was actually nearly 3,000. In other words, these 8 boats had no time to spare for 8 hours a day, and there was also a lot of reward money for the cats. The forum was even more boiling in the evening, and posts about cats collecting money almost dominated the forum. So much so that the moderator had to come out and make a harsh statement that anyone who opens a new topic about cats for money will be banned for 3 days. The moderator is inhuman. Director, I didn't expect Xiao Su to have this ability. You haven't seen those cats? He trained them like villains. They are so human. I want to find him and take one home, but I'm too embarrassed to ask. Sister Tong sat in the director's office with a happy face, chattering, "Look, not only do he have a lot of people, but he also brought up the popularity of our zoo. Now we are just trying to get some enthusiasm. If we can maintain half of the current level after stabilization, it will be very good," Director Song said with a smile. Even so, a small cruise ship business that was originally abandoned has made a profit after only a few days of opening, and it has also driven the growth of zoo tickets. This is really beyond Director Song's expectations. He took out a business card and handed it to Sister Tong. "Yang Chu on TV has a People's Life column and wants to interview Xiao Su. This is the reporter's business card. Please receive him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 23. As the saying goes, if someone calls someone 1,000 words but nods, the goods will come automatically. If Su Ming spent money to advertise a cruise ship, even if Su Ming pawned his pants, he wouldn't be able to raise the advertising fee. People might not necessarily buy it, but the paid cat, after her reputation spread, the TV station actually took the initiative to interview her. When did you become a reporter? Don't you go to school? On the shore of the small lake, Su Ming looked at the tall and good-looking reporter in front of him with a surprised look on his face. Not far away, a staff member wearing a Yang Chu on TV vest was carrying a camera. Sister Tong, the director of the zoo office, was holding a bag of snacks and seduced several cats together. "TCH, You are allowed to work, but I am not allowed to intern. Nangongyan wore a pink suit today, with a touch of makeup, a little less lively and hot in Su-ming's impression, and more dignified and steady. However, this girl's actions were not dignified. She pulled Su-ming aside, pretended to understand the lines, and secretly pinched his arm hard. Humph, didn't someone say that they found a job and invited me to dinner? Su-ming grinned in pain, and quickly apologized and said, I've been so busy during this period, I really forgot about it. As you can see, with such a big deal, I can't even take care of myself. Hey, I asked you, how can you be so good? Become a reporter. Don't change the subject. Nangongyan raised her chin and made a cut sound, and then said, as a top student in the Chinese department, is there anything wrong with me interning at a TV station? It doesn't matter if you majored in Chinese or foreign literature, the important thing is to be beautiful, Su-ming said quickly. You're very sweet-tongued today. It's different from before. Nangongyan's pretty eyes flashed with a hint of teasing, but, I told others that when a man suddenly becomes sweet-tongued, it's usually because of a guilty conscience, isn't it, Boss Su? Boss Mao, hey, I forgot about this. Now, whichever restaurant is better, go to whatever restaurant you like and I'll treat you, Su-ming said. You still have some sincerity. Let me think about it. Nangong, are you ready? It's time to start, the filming director called from the other side. Okay. Hello everyone, I am Nangongyan, an intern reporter in the People's Life column. I am currently reporting for you at the Yangchuan Zoo. Recently, several cats have appeared in the city's zoo, which has aroused heated discussion among citizens. These cats are no ordinary cats. Not only are they cute, they also have a very special ability, they can collect money. This is the owner of these cute cats, the zookeeper, Su-ming. The camera turned to Su-ming, who smiled and said hello everyone. Master Su, I heard that your father was a field worker and worked with various animals all year round, so you have great experience in training animals. Are these cats trained by you? Yes, my father passed away early. Training animals is the most precious asset my father left to me. I am very grateful to him and miss him very much. Su-ming's words came from the heart and were very sincere. Nangongyan was also a little moved and nodded slightly. Su-ming paused for a moment, then continued, these cats are stray cats on my university campus. I like to deal with animals, so I started training them when I was in college. It has been 3 or 4 years now. Personally, I think it's more appropriate to call it Lucky Cat. Nangongyan smiled, now, let's see how these cats collect money and make change. The camera is focused on the cats who are charging visitors. Meow-Yi's Hung took a $50 bill from a middle-aged lady, then gave the money to Dahe with a wagging tail, and then took a $10 bill back from the money box. Madam, is this your first time here? Nangongyan pointed the microphone at the eldest sister. Yes, I heard that the cats here are very smart, so I brought my girl here to have a look. It turns out that this cat is really smart. Look, it gave me 10 yuan, the eldest sister said, while holding the $10 that Meow-Yi found, he shook it at the camera. Nangongyan also laughed, handed the microphone to the eldest sister's daughter, knelt down and asked, Kid, do you think these cats are cute? Yeah. The little girl probably had a little stage fright, her face turned red, and she responded like a mosquito, but her eyes seemed to be glued to Meow-Yi. The middle-aged elder sister touched the little girl's head and said with a smile, I am usually busy with work and don't have much time to spend with my child. Taking this opportunity, I can not only spend time with my child, but also cultivate my child's love from an early age. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. A fat man suddenly jumped out and interrupted loudly, this elder sister is so right. Many living things on the earth are about to perish. Maybe by the time of our grandchildren, there will be no animals in the world. This is not what a sin, we have the same earth and the same blue sky. We can't just spoil the earth for our own happiness and leave a mess to future generations. So we have to protect animals and bring our children. This is to cultivate the awareness of animal protection from an early age. We call on all of us in Yangchuan to bring our children to the zoo. The fat man was full of nonsense, but his expression was serious. However, the corners of Nangongyan's mouth twitched twice, trying to hold back from laughing. "You are such a thief." While the camera was filming the cat, Nangongyan gave Su Ming a dumbfounded look. This fat man is naturally Wang Hao, who was asked by Su Ming to be a trustee. The camera was returned, and Nangongyan asked Su Ming, "Well, I also saw some concerns of netizens, such as counterfeit money and safety issues. How did you solve them?" "I think that most citizens still have basic qualities. Even if they occasionally receive some counterfeit money, they will just laugh it off. After all, as this friend said just now, we hope to let citizens get close to nature and protect animals through this, not just to make money. As for safety issues, we are equipped with life jackets. If you don't wear a life jacket, the cat will not let you get on the boat. In addition, there is a safety guarantee." Su Ming smiled and looked back at the crowd. "Which friend is willing to come out to help? I can show you our safety guarantee on the spot." Fatty Wang jumped out again, holding his head high. "I'll do it." Su Ming smiled and said, "Thank you. Can you jump into the lake?" There was a commotion around. Although the lake was not deep, it was almost 2 meters, and it was still easy to drown a fat man. Fatty Wang already knew about Su Ming's arrangement, but he pretended to hesitate for a long time in front of the camera, and finally agreed reluctantly as if for the sake of face. "Is it really okay?" "I can't swim," Fatty Wang asked nervously while sitting on the cruise ship without a life jacket. Nangongyan held back her laughter and whispered to Su Ming, "It's a pity that this guy is not an actor. Should I be honest? You are the director." Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 24. With a splash, Wang Peng's huge body fell headfirst from the hovercraft into the lake, splashing a large amount of water. This was like filming a reality show. Although the audience knew that the zoo and the filming team should have made arrangements in advance and there would be no real accidents, they still couldn't help but get nervous when they saw the fat man falling into the water. Tourists rushed to the shore and stared at Wang Pengzi, who fell into the water. In fact, the zoo had no arrangements at all, and they didn't even know that Su Ming would do such a thing. Sister Tong was so scared that her face turned pale. She squeezed in front of Su Ming, pulled Su Ming's sleeve, and whispered, "Xiao Su, nothing will happen, right? Don't do anything stupid. I think this fat man is in trouble." Sister Tong was right. Wang Pengzi waved his hands randomly in the water a few times and sank into the water with a thud. Everyone on the shore was shocked. This man really couldn't swim. It was true. People who can't swim are usually very afraid of water. At first, Fatty Wang refused to do it. Su Ming rehearsed with him more than once in advance to ensure that there would be no mistakes. He also persuaded him to explain the righteousness, and Fatty Wang was reluctant to make the sacrifice to be the babysitter. Sister Tong's face turned pale in an instant. She grabbed Su Ming's hand and screamed, "Save him, save him." If someone drowned in the zoo and it was on TV, it would be a huge responsibility accident. From the director to her, the office director, everyone would be in trouble. Before she finished speaking, there was a splash of water where Fatty Wang fell into the water. Fatty Wang slowly floated to the surface of the water again, and the whole person was like a big frog, lying on the water. "Turtle! What a big turtle!" A child pointed at the lake and shouted, and everyone realized that Fatty Wang did not float up by himself, but was lying on the back of a huge alligator turtle. The fierce-looking alligator turtle was very honest at this time. It carried Fatty Wang and swam slowly to the shallow water near the shore, and put Fatty Wang down. Amid the mobile phone photos and exclamations, the alligator turtle shook its tail in a very showy way, then turned around and slowly crawled back into the lake step by step with great camera sense, leaving a deep back. The work is done and the name is hidden. Is this also a pet you tamed? How did you do it? Nangongyan's expression became extremely strange, and she even forgot that she was in front of the camera. Her mouth opened into an O shape and she looked at Su Ming in disbelief. The secret is. Su Ming, who looked as showy as the alligator snapper, dragged out his voice and said to the camera seriously, "Love. Today's interview really opened my eyes. Several cute lucky cats and the hard-working life-saving turtle all showed us a fact that as long as humans are willing to treat animals well, they can become friends with animals. I didn't realize before that this girl is actually quite pretty." Su Ming smiled as he looked at the TV. In the next few days, the tourists in front of Feng Shui Pavilion ushered in a peak period, and the queues waiting for boating could be lined up in the woods. It seems that mobile phone shooting can no longer satisfy tourists. Some crazy photography enthusiasts even set up long guns and short guns by the lake, and stood on the shore instead of boating, shooting all day long. If it was cloudy, Su Ming even felt that he should wear glasses to avoid being blinded by the flash. But those photography enthusiasts were quite kind. After taking pictures, they often gave the cats 50 or 100 yuan. But what made Su Ming angry was that a few cats were so stupid as to ask for money. After a week, the income reached a terrifying 28,000. Su Ming had some spare money on hand, and the first thing he did was to make up for Nangongyan's meal. This matter was a bit sorry for her. When he was worried about finding a job, Nangongyan often comforted and cared about him. When he found a job, she said she would treat her to a meal, but she forgot it. I thought I would be ripped off, but I didn't expect this girl to choose to eat in the school's small cafeteria. A meal plus 1 yuan, it didn't cost 100. Now Su Ming and Nangongyan are both small celebrities in the school. During the meal, he met several classmates from Nangongyan's class, and they couldn't help but wink at each other. Su Ming's agreement with the zoo still doesn't require payment for 3 months, so this time's income of 28,000, minus the fuel cost of more than 3,000, there is still 25,000 left. 13,000 was given to Wang Hao, a little more than 50%, but Wang Hao was not easy. He sacrificed himself for the revolutionary cause and fell into the water. This spirit is definitely worth encouraging. Wang Hao was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. It wasn't that he was short of money. With his family background, more than 10,000 yuan was nothing. But this was the first money he made by himself, and the money came from a very great and glorious way, which made him feel proud in front of his father. It is said that the old man of the Wang family, the old cotter at the department level, was also very pleased. He said on the spot that when Wang Hao made enough 100,000 yuan, his family would give him another 200,000 yuan to buy him a small Audi. "Lao Su, I want to quit my job and come to you to help." "Don't stop. I think we should make contributions in different revolutionary positions, so that we can meet more like-minded comrades and help the development of our revolutionary cause in the future. What do you think?" "I understand, it's just to build more connections." "Lao Su, you are smart, no wonder you can make money. Can you have a little awareness of the second generation of officials?" "Don't talk so bluntly." Su Ming looked at the phone with contempt. "I'm talking to you. I'm very smart with outsiders. Come on, I won't say anything. You work hard. My brother is counting on you to pick up girls in an Audi." Su Ming shook his head and smiled. He was speechless and cruel to this best friend. After hanging up the phone, he went to the bank to remit 10,000 yuan home. 2 days later, he called his mother again. "Ming-er, why did you remit so much money?" On the other end of the phone, his mother was obviously a little nervous. She knew how much Su Ming's salary was. He had only been working for less than a month. How could he have 10,000 yuan? As parents, they would rather their children earn less money and live in peace. They never want their children to do anything illegal for money. Mom, you don't know me yet. I'm so honest. Don't worry, I contracted the cruise business at the zoo and made some money. Su Ming simply told his mother about the cruise, and his mother was relieved. Ming, you've grown up, and I'm relieved. I still have money here, and it's enough for the family. When you make money, save it, get married in the future, buy yourself some food and clothes, and don't always send it home. Every time he called, his mother couldn't help but nag the same thing, but Su Ming never felt bored. Ah, we are really not from the same family. Your father has been engaged in animal protection for his whole life, and you are doing this business now, his mother said with some emotion. Mom, don't think too much. I work in the zoo and don't go to the wild. Su Ming knew what his mother was worried about and hurried to comfort her. My father died at the gunpoint of an international poaching group in order to protect endangered animals, and this group still exists today. When his mother learned that his work was also related to animals, she would inevitably worry that she would repeat her father's tragedy. Su Ming comforted his mother and told the old lady not to worry. However, in his heart, he told himself very clearly that the hatred of killing his father was irreconcilable, and what should be done must be done even if it was struck by thunder. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 25. The booming cruise business has brought a lot of extra income to the zoo. Sister Tong counted the passenger flow in the past 2 weeks and found that it was nearly 20% higher than usual. His cruise ship business, to put it bluntly, is just for those cats. It's a new trend now. Once this freshness wears off, it will be great to have half of the current traffic. Although the truth is this, Director Song is still very satisfied and can't help but smile. The zoo's main income is admission tickets. The small cruise ship business has increased the zoo's income by 20%. Correspondingly, the zoo has almost no investment. Even if there is only half of it in the future, the zoo will still make a lot of money from this deal. In addition to real money, the TV station's interview is equivalent to advertising for the zoo, which is also intangible income. Director, should we strengthen security? Look, our usual passenger flow is about 400 people a day under normal circumstances, but now there are more than 100 people going to Xiasu cruise every day. As a result, the passenger flow has only increased by less than 20%. There must be many people who came in through the wall without buying tickets, Sister Tong said. This matter is not urgent for the time being. You go and make a new agreement with Xiaosu. From now on, the zoo will only charge a symbolic management fee of 10% from the cruise revenue, Director Song said. Only 10%, Sister Song was stunned. What do you mean? Since the young man has made a good start, we will support him more. If he can save a sum of money as soon as possible, I can consider contracting more places to him. The other places that can be contracted cost hundreds of thousands at least. How can he get so much money in a short while? Sister Tong said. I have a feeling that this kid might be able to surprise us. Director Song said with a smile. The zoo's biggest benefit from the cruise business is not the commission, but the increase in tickets and social benefits. After the last TV station came to interview, the city specially praised our zoo for this. He said that our people's livelihood work has been carried out in an impressive manner, and a sum of money has been allocated to repair the park. Has the funding been approved? This is a great event that only happens once in 10 years, Sister Tong said happily. Director Song nodded and said, so, the better Xiaosu's cruise business is, the greater the benefits will be to the zoo. We should not charge more management fees for him. This child has the ability. I have seen it, he is also a very emotional person, we can't let that little money make young people's hearts cold. After Su Ming got off work that afternoon, he went to the zoo canteen to buy a bottle of red wine. Then he poured out all the red wine and filled half a bottle of mince wine. The days flew by so fast that it was almost the day that I agreed with Zhao Yun to visit his home. Although he is Chinchin's savior, Chinese people pay attention to etiquette, and it is not appropriate for a woman to be a guest with nothing. After thinking about it, I didn't have anything to give as a gift. Zhao Yun had a long list of titles on his business card. A standard successful person would probably not care about ordinary tobacco and alcohol. It's just right to give monkey wine as a gift. Even if it doesn't cost anything, it's very unique. There is still more than half of the monkey wine I got from Huishan last time, enough to drink for several months. Su Ming also communicated with the old Monkey King that he could brew a large barrel every winter, which would not be enough to sell. It was more than enough to just drink it himself and occasionally give it as a gift to others. With half a bottle of monkey wine, Su Ming went to the office to ask for leave from Sister Tong, then took a taxi at the gate of the zoo and went straight to the city. Binshui Yawan is a well-known wealthy area in Yangchuan City. It is located on the edge of the second ring road. It is quiet in the bustle. It is a group of classical park-style buildings. It is also the earliest all-villa-style community in Yangchuan City. The community is quiet, but not as popular as the zoo. There are several townhouses hidden on both sides of the lush greenery and running water. After passing through the main part of the community and coming to the artificial lake at the back, Zhao Yun's house was a two-story villa with a single door. Su Ming rang the doorbell. Half a minute later, a delicate woman's face appeared behind the security door. "Xiao Su is here, please come in, please come in." The person who opened the door was Chinchin's mother, Zhao Qian. The woman with disheveled hair who was crying at the beginning was now radiant and exuding the temperament of an intellectual beauty. After Zhao Qian welcomed Su Ming into the door, she shouted into the villa, "Chang Chang, look, who is coming?" "Who?" Orange Chang Chang walked out wearing bare pajamas and two big toe slippers. When she saw Su Ming, her eyes lit up. Her two big eyes immediately curved into a crescent shape, and she ran towards Su Ming with her hands outstretched. "Big brother," he smiled sweetly and asked Su Ming for a hug. "This child, I have been thinking about you since I came back last time." Zhao Qian looked at Chang Cheng dotingly and said with a smile. Su Ming changed into a pair of slippers, smiled, picked up Chang Cheng, and followed Zhao Qian towards the villa. The villa is decorated in an antique style, with many antiques on display, but it is obviously much higher quality than the Ming and Qing dynasty attractions that specialize in cheating tourists out of their money. "Brother, has the little monkey recovered?" "Okay," Su Ming said. Chang Cheng lay next to Su Ming's ear, blinked and said softly, "Last time you asked the old Monkey King not to bully Chang Cheng, but the old Monkey King has listened to you. Can you teach Chang Cheng how to talk to monkeys?" "Good." Chinchin's words sounded like the innocence of a child to an adult like Zhao Qian. She didn't take it seriously and smiled at Su Ming. Su Ming also pretended to be mysterious and deliberately lowered his voice to Chang Cheng, "Okay, I'll teach you next time, but this is a little secret between us, you can't tell anyone else." "Yeah," Chang Cheng nodded vigorously and stretched out a little finger, "Pin." "Chang Cheng will keep it a secret." "Xiao Su, come on, sit down. There are no outsiders today. Xiao Qian cooked a few home-cooked dishes and we'll eat here tonight." Zhao Yun rushed down from the second-floor bedroom with a smile. "You guys chat, I'll go get the dishes." Zhao Qian turned and went into the kitchen. "Hello, Uncle Zhao." Su Ming nodded at Zhao Yun. "Haha, it's okay for you to call me big brother, but since Chang Cheng calls you brother, I'm being too arrogant." Zhao Qian was busy cooking in the kitchen. Chang Cheng ran to the kitchen and then to the living room, like a little monkey who couldn't sit still. Su Ming and Zhao Yun were drinking tea and chatting, and then they learned that Zhao Yun was in the antique business in his early years, and later opened a private museum called Ge Guzai. Su Ming was very surprised. Ge Guzai Museum is very famous throughout the country, because it is one of the few private museums in the country, and it is also the first private museum. In other words, all the collections in the museum are Zhao Yun's private property. Although the country has regulations that antiques of a certain age can only be collected and not traded, the fact that he can own an entire museum is enough to show that Zhao Yun has amazing financial resources and connections. Let's get ready to eat, Lao Zhao, you guys lift the table. Zhao Qian said from the kitchen. Su Ming took out half a bottle of monkey wine from his bag and put it on the table. Uncle Zhao, I didn't bring anything. This bottle of wine is brewed by monkeys. I think it tastes good. You try it. Monkey brewed, 100 fruit wine. Zhao Yun's face changed slightly, and he asked with some confusion, Xiao Su, did you buy this from the market? No, it's brewed by monkeys, Su Ming said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 26. Did you see monkeys brewing wine? Zhao Yun's voice rose slightly, and there was obviously some disbelief in his tone. That's not the case. Su Ming thought about it and told the story in the small valley in the back mountain. However, he concealed part of the truth and did not say that the wine was brewed by the Monkey King in the zoo. He only said that he went to the back mountain to play and met a few monkeys staggering. When those monkeys saw someone coming, they screamed and ran away. He chased them curiously and found monkey wine in a valley. Zhao Yun nodded. This made sense. Monkeys are not winemakers. How could they brew wine in front of humans? He asked with great interest, is the wine tree still there? Yes, Su Ming nodded. Well, come with me. Zhao Yun thought about it, and didn't care about eating. He stood up and walked upstairs. It's time for dinner. Zhao Qian ran out of the kitchen wearing an apron, only to see Zhao Yun taking Su Ming up to the second floor. She rubbed her hands on her apron while catching up with them. Standing at the bottom of the stairs, she shouted at Su Ming and his back, Old Zhao, what are you doing now? Bring Xiao Su down to eat. I'll be there soon. Zhao Yun waved his hand without looking back, and took Su Ming into the study on the second floor. The study was not big, with a few paintings and calligraphy hanging on the wall. Su Ming didn't understand calligraphy and painting, but he knew at a glance that it was definitely not the kind of rubbish hanging on the walls of Ming and Qing dynasty residences. An entire wall in the study was transformed into a large cabinet, on which were placed a lot of porcelain and other things, and it was specially locked with tempered glass. Zhao Yun squatted in front of a safe, twisted it a few times quickly, opened the door, took out a wine glass from it, and gently placed it on the table. The wine glass was about the same size as the small wine glass people use today, but it was light blue. I don't know what material it was made of. There were also strands of fine lines around the cup body, dark red like blood. The study was on the backside, the light was dim, and Zhao Yun didn't turn on the lights. In the dimness, he saw that the wine glass was slightly shiny, as if covered in a layer of fog. This cup is a luminous cup. The ancients said that grape wine should be drunk in a luminous cup. When drinking wine, you should use a luminous cup. Zhao Yun leaned on a chair, playing with the luminous cup, and said slowly, actually, this is not completely accurate. Wine is a kind of fruit wine. It is best to use a luminous cup as a container for any fruit wine. Fruit wine is the king of fruit wine, so it is natural to use a luminous cup. After Zhao Yun finished speaking, he took the monkey wine sent by Su Ming and carefully filled a cup into the luminous cup. The study was immediately filled with a mellow wine aroma. Zhao Yun's eyes lit up, he raised the cup and put it under his nose to take a deep breath, then drank it all in one gulp, closed his eyes, played with the luminous cup in his hand, and seemed to savor the mellow fragrance of the monkey wine in his mouth. After a long time, he exhaled deeply and opened his eyes again. Good wine. It's definitely not the fake monkey wine sold on the market. Zhao Yun gave Su Ming a thumbs up. I also think this wine tastes very special, so I gave it to you. Su Ming smiled. The wine is good, no doubt about it. But, Xiao Su, I can't accept this bottle of wine. Su Ming was stunned. Why, is there something wrong with this wine? Is it unhygienic? That's not the case. Since it has been fermented into wine, there will be no bacteria. Even if it is a little unhygienic, it is harmless. We are not doctors, so there is no need to be so particular. Zhao Yun smiled and waved his hand, explaining, wine is the best sterilizer. Some old wines can still be drunk after being stored in ancient tombs for thousands of years. At most, people will get drunk to death, but there will be no bacterial infection. What I mean is that your bottle of monkey wine is very valuable. I invited you here today to thank you for saving Chinchin's life. If I accept your monkey wine again, it would be too much of a bargain. So I can't accept this gift. Can this be sold for money? Su Ming didn't think much about this problem. Although monkey wine is said to be magical, this thing cannot be mass-produced. Secondly, there is no news of monkey wine being sold at a high price in the market. I have no reputation and no background. I hold a bottle of strange wine and say it is made by monkeys. I want to sell it at a high price. It is strange that anyone will believe it. Listen to me and I will tell you slowly. I am an antique dealer. The value of your monkey wine is somewhat similar to antiques. For example, why is a thing valuable? First, it is rare. The rarer the thing, the more valuable it is. Han jade is valuable. Let me tell you, if more than a dozen pieces suddenly appear on the market in Yangchuan City within a month, no, as long as 3 or 4 pieces appear one after another, the price of this thing will go down immediately. Second, you have to find the right buyer. For example, if someone likes porcelain, you insist on selling him calligraphy and paintings, he will buy it even if you sell it to him. If you are willing to buy it, you also want to make money by reselling it, so you are naturally reluctant to pay a high price. But if you find a piece of Tang San K for him, it is like putting a beauty in front of a pervert. He will buy it even if he borrows money, because it is a rare opportunity. If you miss it, you will never get it again. The third thing is, of course, the quality of the thing itself. Although yours is monkey wine, I can't make a conclusion about its appearance. I am a collector, not a wine connoisseur. Is there a difference in the quality of monkey wine? Then tell me about it. Su Ming was also interested. Zhao Yun tapped the table with his slender fingers and said slowly, monkey wine is a general term. If you break it down, it can be divided into several categories. First, it is called liquid wine. Monkeys take hundreds of fruits and ferment them together. The juice drips down. The first drop is 100 fruit liquid. A large amount of hundreds of fruit liquid gathers and ferments twice, which can be called 100 fruit wine. The second fermentation of hundreds of fruit wine is naturally more valuable than the first fermentation of hundreds of fruit liquid, because monkeys are greedy and often smell the fragrance. Before the liquid is collected to make wine, they will drink up all the hundreds of fruit liquid. The second fermentation is not the end. There is also a third fermentation. When all the fruits no longer have juice dripping, the hundreds of fruit wine is sealed in one place. After 3 fermentations, a strong wine smell is produced. This can be called real monkey wine. Su Ming recalled in his mind that the Monkey King finally threw away all the fruits that no longer dripped liquid. So, this should be the monkey wine that was fermented 3 times. Zhao Yun didn't know that Su Ming had already made a judgment in his mind, and then said, second, it is called monkey quality. There are hierarchical subordinates in the monkey group. Monkey King, female monkeys, male monkeys, as well as strong, weak, old, and young monkeys of different levels have different status. The higher the monkeys rank, the better the raw materials for brewing wine. For monkeys of low status, even eating is a problem. How can they brew wine? At the same time, the older the monkey, the better the crafts of brewing wine. Therefore, the value of the wine also depends on the age of the monkey brewing it and its status in the monkey group. Third, it is called local quality. As the saying goes, oranges grown in the south of the Hawaii River are oranges, while those grown in the north of the Hawaii River are bitter oranges. Monkeys from different regions brew different wines. The more famous ones are Ime macaques, Huashan monkeys, Huangshan monkeys, big yellow monkeys, etc. I've learned a lot, Su Ming said sincerely. I heard this from my friends. Zhao Yun waved his hand and smiled, saying, these are the classification methods in ancient books, but monkey wine was extremely rare even in ancient times. Nowadays, there are not many monkeys, so where can monkey wine come from? Maybe in the real deep mountains and old forests, by chance, it may still be found. Therefore, no matter whether it is liquid, brewed, wine, or monkey wine, as long as it is brewed by monkeys, it is extremely precious. Real monkey wine is worth a fortune, even if it is a high imitation. It is also worth a lot. During the Republic of China period, a family put various fruits in a large vat, fermented them, added a little yeast, filtered them with asphalt, steamed and buried them, and brewed monkey wine artificially. After drinking it, the heart does not beat, the brain does not get hot, and you fall asleep peacefully, which is extremely comfortable. When you wake up, you feel comfortable and clear-minded. It is extremely good for the body. A bottle can sell for hundreds of dollars and is in short supply. However, due to the high cost and trouble, it is difficult to make more. As for the monkey wine on the market now, in the words of you young people, it can only be hee-hee. Then how much do you think this wine is worth? Su Ming asked. I can't say for sure. There are similarities between wine and antiques. The quality itself is one aspect, which requires professional appraisal. In addition, the selling price is different in different places. For example, if I go to the countryside to collect an antique, it may only cost a few hundred yuan, but if I go to Liulichang in the capital, it may cost tens of thousands. If it is put in an auction house, if I meet an expert who likes it and there are a few people who bid up, it will not be difficult to sell it for hundreds of thousands. Monkey wine is something that is hard to come by. If you are lucky, you can sell it at a sky-high price. After listening to Zhao Yun's systematic explanation, Su Ming immediately had a new understanding of the value of monkey wine. He thought about it and said, Uncle Zhao, I still have some monkey wine. This bottle of wine is for you. There is absolutely no reason in the world to take a gift into the house and take it away. It is too rude. Besides, if you hadn't told me this knowledge today, I wouldn't know how precious monkey wine is. This bottle of wine is my thank you, you must accept it? Seeing Su Ming's sincerity, Zhao Yun hesitated for a moment, then stopped refusing and laughed. In that case, I won't be polite. To be honest, although I don't like drinking, I am a collector after all. Seeing this monkey wine, I am really jealous. After he finished speaking, he carefully locked the remaining half bottle of monkey wine and the luminous cup in the safe, then turned to Su Ming and said, You just said, there is still monkey wine there? If you trust me, I have a relationship with the auction house in Hong Kong, you can send it to the auction to try. Then trouble you. Su Ming nodded. Zhao Yun's words were exactly what he needed. As Zhao Yun said, the same thing, in the hands of different people, in different occasions, the price is definitely different. I am a penniless young man, even if I hold a treasure, I can't sell it at a high price, and it may be coveted by others. Let's go to eat, your Aunt Zhao must be waiting anxiously. Zhao Yun pulled Su Ming outside. When he passed the safe, he patted his forehead in annoyance and smiled bitterly. If I had known that this was really monkey wine, I would not have drunk so much in one gulp no matter what you said just now. What a spendthrift. Su Ming was speechless. If that's the case, if I drink this stuff every day, wouldn't I become the #1 spendthrift in the world? Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 27. Before dinner, Su Ming and Zhao Yun discussed the auction of wine. Zhao Yun meant that it would be better to send the winemaking tree together and auction them together, so that the monkey wine would appear more authentic and more legendary. Cutting a tree in the mountains is not a big deal, and it is even easier and simpler for Zhao Yun's social power, as long as Su Ming points the way. After the finalization, dinner finally started. Su Ming and Zhao Yun's family sat around the round table, and there was no distinction between the upper and lower. Zhao Qian and Zhao Yun were college classmates. Zhao Yun's business was booming, and Zhao Qian was a teacher in a school in Yangchuan City. Since Zhao Yun's business was more cultural, and it was already on track, he didn't need to run around all day, so the family was happy and the couple loved each other. Zhao Qian was a very good cook, with a full table of dishes and a bottle of mutai. But when eating, Zhao Yun and Su Ming both felt a little dull. Su Ming was better, after all, he was used to drinking monkey wine all day long, but Zhao Yun had never tasted it before. After drinking it, he felt a little dull with other wines. You kid has ruined me. How can I drink in the future? Zhao Yun smiled bitterly and tapped Su Ming with chopsticks. Zhao Qian opened her eyes wide and looked curious. I saw in the smiling, proud wanderer that Ling Huchong cheated an old beggar for a bottle of monkey wine. I didn't expect that there is such wine in the world. The world is so big that there are all kinds of wonders. What we humans can know is just a small piece of sky above our heads. The so-called sitting in a well and looking at the sky is about us humans, Zhao Yun said with a smile. Cheng Cheng didn't care about the wine or not. She kept begging Su Ming to take her to see the monkeys. Su Ming said that he would take her when she was on vacation. There was some perfunctory element in these words. Now Cheng Cheng was on summer vacation. The truth is that Zhao Qian was really scared last time. In the short term, she probably won't dare to let her daughter go to a dangerous place like the zoo. Cheng Cheng pouted, her chubby cheeks bulged, and she said angrily, "You adults are all in the same group." A few days later, Sotheby's Cultural Center, Taikoo Plaza, Queensway, Hong Kong. Sotheby's auction house is the oldest auction house in the world. After more than 200 years of development, it has developed from a bookstore in a small town to one of the world's top 3 auction houses. It is famous for its high commission, high service quality and high reputation, and is known for its 3 highs. In Asia, Sotheby's has set up a Hong Kong branch, with porcelain, calligraphy and painting, wine and other main businesses, and regular classified auctions every year. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sotheby's Hong Kong annual wine auction. On the auction stage, a well-dressed middle-aged British man with a delicate mustache opened the curtain of the auction with his impeccable aristocratic etiquette. The auction hall was quite spacious, divided into upper and lower sides like an opera house, and the total number of guests in the hall did not exceed 50. Sitting in the huge auction hall, it seemed a bit sparse. But people in the auction industry know that the fewer guests there are, the higher the level and the more professional the auction is. Because rich people are a minority after all, and there are even fewer rich people who are keen on collecting in a certain field. Only the auctions of the mainstream goods will gather a large group of people, and ordinary white-collar workers can spend dozens of dollars to buy a ticket to watch the excitement. In a semi-open small box on the second floor, there sat a young man who was not even a white-collar worker. "Don't be nervous, you are the seller, just think that all these people today are here to give you money," Zhao Yun said to Su Ming with a smile on his side. Su Ming was not nervous, but very curious. He had only seen such a high-end scene in TV and movies before. After dinner that day, Zhao Yun immediately helped to contact the auction house, and also helped to advance the seller's deposit and arrange the auction. Su Ming took 2 days off and followed Zhao Yun to the auction site in Hong Kong. After arriving at the auction house, Su Ming found that Zhao Yun's power was indeed not small. It turned out that the vice president of Sotheby's Asia branch personally received him and arranged a private room on the spot. Then you are really wrong. The private room is not arranged for my face, but for you. Zhao Yun shook his head and said with a smile. For me? Su Ming asked puzzledly. Zhao Yun smiled and said, think about it, as long as there are good things, why worry about not having buyers? There are too many rich people in the world, but there are only a few good things. Therefore, what the auction house really values is the seller, especially the potential seller. There are quite a few cultural relics in my museum, but the country has regulations that precious cultural relics of a certain level can be collected, but they are not allowed to be sold, especially in international auctions. So in the eyes of Sotheby's, my value is mainly my professional level, not my collections. Is monkey wine so precious? Su Ming thinks that monkey wine may be sold for hundreds of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands. After all, it is such a big event. But even if it is hundreds of thousands, it is a huge sum of money for ordinary people, but for Sotheby's, hundreds of thousands of collections are probably too many to count, and there is no need to look at me differently. It's open. Zhao Yun did not answer, but pointed down. The first auction item is a bottle of 1787 sweet white wine produced in Château Luzelis, France. Château Luzelis, also known as Château d'Yquem, is the only super first-class sweet white winery in Bordeaux's official classification of wineries in 1855. This highest honor placed Château Luzelis above the rest of the world. Today there are 5 major wineries including Lafite, Latour, and Margaux. Just the place and vintage make this bottle worth a lot of money. The host of the auction, the mustached man named Robin, showed a playful smile and said to the audience, however, I need to explain to everyone that this bottle of wine may be a bottle of fake wine. Of course, I mean maybe. There was an uproar in the audience. Su Ming was also stunned and asked Zhao Yun, is this okay? Selling fake wine in public? Zhao Yun, however, remained calm and said with a smile, you'll know after you read it. Everyone, in 2006, American collector Kalilo bought this rare wine for us $100,000, setting a world record for the most expensive white wine at that time. However, not long after, Mr. Kalilo claimed that the wine it was a bottle of fake wine, and the original owner of the bottle also provided an authoritative certificate of authenticity. So, Robin shrugged and said, so, the authenticity of this bottle of wine has become a mystery. At the beginning of this year, Mr. Corallo entrusted us to auction this mysterious bottle of red wine. The starting price is the same as that of 2006. The auction price was the same, $100,000. Now, please raise your sign. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Se Nian Bai. Chapter 28. After Robin called out the starting price of $100,000, there was a brief gap in the audience. Many people participating in the auction began to whisper among themselves, probably discussing something. 100,000, finally the first person raised the sign. 120,000. 150,000. 180,000. After several bids, the price was finally settled at us $220,000. Thanks to Earl Downton, this bottle of mysterious red wine belongs to you. Robin bowed slightly to the middle-aged British gentleman who made the last bid. The Earl of Downton stood up and returned the favor to Robin with the same traditional British classical aristocratic etiquette. Is this okay? What if it's really fake wine? Su Ming was speechless. Maybe this is a real rich man. Zhao Yun explained to Su Ming, mystery and the unknown are also a huge attraction. Sometimes what you pay for is a thrill, especially this group of old nobles who were kicked out in the power struggle. They especially like to use it as a way to show presence. He took a sip of red wine and said calmly, Actually, there are many factors that affect the final price. Some are simply hype or secret bribery, but there are also real miracles. After all, there are still many people in this world who take money instead of money. The second auction item is a bottle of champagne called Pic Noir champagne. The history of this bottle of wine is not too long, at least compared to the previous sweet white wine. The 1907 vintage is like a little brother compared to 1787, and the winery produced is not too famous. It is nothing more than the royal winery of Russian Tsar Nicholas II. The royal winery is mysterious and noble in the eyes of ordinary people, but in the eyes of real connoisseurs, it is only better than mass-produced products. In the eyes of traditional European aristocrats, the royal winery of the Tsar is completely out of the world of ice and snow. Barbarian insists on pretending to be elegant and builds a second-rate winery. How can there be any treasures there? Then this bottle of wine has a legendary background story. In 1916, a German submarine sank a Russian ship. One of the ships contained a box of 2,000 bottles of snowy champagne. This box of snowy champagne was buried at the bottom of the sea together with the sunken ship for 82 years. It was not until 1998 that it was salvaged and brought to light. Since Tsarist Russia was replaced by the Soviet Union in 1922, and the royal chateau was transformed into Comrade Stalin's private holiday villa, the Piper per champagne has since been called the Swan Song, also known as the last royal dinner. I'm not sure whether this bottle of wine can still be drunk, but even if it can be drunk, with my meager income, I would never bear to drink such history. Robin made a little joke, and a few chuckles came from below, before he continued, these 2,000 bottles of wine, the starting price of any bottle is the same, $150,000. There were many more people bidding this time than for the mysterious red wine just now. There was almost an endless stream of people raising placards, and the price was also rising rapidly. Third bid, $350,000. Deal, Robin's hammer hit hard, congratulations, Jackie. Jackie in the photo seems to have a good personal relationship with Robin. He raised the wine glass in front of him and gave Robin a slight smile. It's actually him. Su Ming then noticed that the Xiangjiang man named Jackie was actually a very famous figure in the entertainment industry. Su Ming had grown up listening to his songs. Zhao Yun whispered on the side, "This is Xiangjiang. You can often see celebrities from all walks of life. If you have collections such as clocks, you might even see Dr. He. Dr. He is the gambling king He Hongshen. He loves to collect clocks. Although he is famous for his gambling, this old gentleman likes to be called doctor." Of the next few auction items, one failed to sell, and the remaining items all ranged in price from 300,000 to 600,000. They were all US dollars, not Chinese coins as Su Ming had always thought. The auction scene did not appear as Su Ming imagined, with tense situations and slaps in the face. On the contrary, the people who came to participate in the auction were all people with a certain status, and collecting was just a hobby. They would not form enemies over hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's what children do. The following piece of collection is the first time it has been auctioned by Sotheby's and even auction houses around the world. Robin's words immediately aroused a small discussion. Sotheby's has been established for more than 200 years. What has it not sold? Not to mention the first time in the world. It is said that during a period of war, a famous auction house even auctioned the sovereignty of a small country. Most of you live in Xiangjiang, so you must have a certain understanding of Chinese culture. Some of the friends here are close friends with Mr. Jin from Xiangjiang Mingpao. Everyone was a little strange. They didn't know why they mentioned the golden hero Mr. Jin who shot the white deer in the snow. However, in view of their trust in Robin's professionalism, everyone listened patiently to what he had to say, and many people became even more curious. Hearing this, Su Ming knew that his monkey wine was about to come on stage. Robin spoke Chinese very fluently. If he closed his eyes and didn't look at his appearance, Su Ming would have thought he was an innocent Chinese. In Mr. Jin's book, there is a hero called Ling Hu. This hero is addicted to alcohol. He drinks countless wines in his life. If the wine he drinks is made by nature, it gathers the essence of heaven and earth. There is nothing more interesting than the monkey wine made from the fruits of monkeys. The auction item below is a bottle of monkey wine accidentally discovered in the Qinling Mountains of mainland China. There was an uproar in the auction hall. Many Chinese people even stood up directly. The king-level superstar even asked directly, "Robin, you are so ridiculous. Is there really monkey wine in this world?" "Oh, Jackie mentioned a very critical question, and I really can't give you an accurate answer." Robin shrugged and said with a smile, "Because there has been no monkey wine before, there is no real sample to compare. At the same time, it is impossible to catch the monkey who made the wine and interrogate it to make him admit it is this bottle of monkey wine from him." Robin's humor aroused a burst of good-natured laughter, and he continued, "However, we asked several experts to identify it, and they all agreed that the brewing process and raw materials of this bottle of wine are indeed different from any known brewing method. Different, at the same time, this bottle of wine has a unique flavor and extremely high nutritional value. In terms of quality, it should have been fermented at least 3 times. In addition, although we did not catch the smart monkey, we found the tree where the wine was made, and after comparison, it was discovered that this bottle of wine was indeed brewed from the heart of the tree." As he spoke, the projection of the big hollow tree was projected on the big screen behind him. So, unless a monkey makes wine for everyone to see, we will never be sure whether it is monkey wine. I think, except for Tarzan, no other person in the world will have the opportunity to see a monkey making wine with his own eyes. If this is a real bottle of monkey wine, then it may be the only bottle of monkey wine discovered by humans. I don't need to elaborate on its value. Of course, everything has another possibility. Maybe this is a bottle of strange fruit wine that is inexplicable, but tastes heartbreakingly good. Robin pressed his hands down. "Okay, everyone, the starting price for this equally mysterious bottle of monkey wine is $180,000. Jackie gathered the signs without hesitation. 200,000. $220,000. Earl Downton, who had just photographed the wine, held up a sign. Before Jackie could raise his sign again, another Chinese businessman bid a price of 250,000. A Taiwanese guy directly raised his sign, 300,000. Jackie spread his hands and smiled at the Taiwanese guy, indicating that he was unable to compete. Then he turned around and whispered to the assistant next to him with a smile, "If I had known better, I wouldn't have bought that champagne." The assistant shrugged helplessly. The first time monkey wine appeared in front of the world, it was something that could be found but not sought. Unlike other wines, no matter how rare it is, there are always a few bottles in the world, but this monkey wine may be just like Robin said, there would never be one again, so the asking price quickly reached the $400,000 mark. As for the possibility that it is fake, these rich people don't care too much. They can still afford hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy a hope. What's more, even Sotheby's prefers to think that it is real monkey wine, so who can say that this is not monkey wine? After $400,000, the number of people raising placards finally started to decrease. It's just a bottle of wine after all. On the scene, the 3 people still raising signs were all Asians. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 29. The 3 people still holding up the signs were a Japanese with a mustache and a neat suit, the Taiwanese guy who had directly bid 300,000 yuan before, and an old Korean man. It's a bit sad to say that this monkey wine is a specialty of mainland China. It can be said to be a part of Chinese culture. In the end, no one competed with mainlanders. It seems that Orientals are more concerned about face, and these three people raised the price to get a little angry. After the price of monkey wine was $400,000, the price soared again. Finally, the Taiwanese guy settled the deal with $580,000. Su Ming, who was sitting on the stage, was already a little dizzy from the sudden happiness. Darling, $580,000, no idea, almost 4 million Chinese coins. What the hell, I just got mad all at once. Uncle Zhao, I actually have a few bottles left. Do you want to take them out and sell them together? Su Ming asked Zhao Yun, a little stammering. Silly boy, do you understand that things are rare and valuable? A unique bottle of monkey wine appeared today, so I can buy it at this price. If another bottle appears tomorrow, what do you think will happen? Zhao Yun asked back. Explain. That's right, hee hee. Su Ming laughed dryly. He was indeed a little too greedy. After the monkey wine sold for a high price of $580,000, Su Ming was a little absent-minded during the subsequent auction, and he was completely confused. This is no wonder for him. Even if he is a white-collar worker with an annual salary of 100,000 yuan, he will only make a few million in his lifetime. On this day, he has made all the money that ordinary people will spend in their lifetime. It would be strange not to be excited. Although Su Ming was a little distracted, he was still frightened by the bottle of wine at the end. A bottle of 92-year-old Han Emperor Mutai. A total of 10 bottles of this wine were produced that year, and currently only 3 bottles can be found in the world. This bottle of wine finally sold for a whopping $1.89 million. After people have money, they tend to become more open-minded. In the past, Su Ming would have been a little envious and jealous, but now, he was just amazed. Whether this was hype, a secret deal, or whether this bottle of wine was worth so much money, Su Ming no longer cared. He only cared about his $580,000 now. After the auction, Su Ming followed Zhao Yun to the VIP customer area of the auction house. Mr. Zhao, you bring us surprises every time you come. Of course, congratulations to you, dear Su, you are such a lucky young man. At this time, Robin had changed his clothes. He was no longer wearing a formal suit and leather shoes on the stage. Instead, he was wearing a very enchanting tight-fitting suit with gold rims. He looked gorgeous. He twisted his waist and walked in. He greeted Zhao Yun extremely warmly and extended his hand to Su Ming. I also want to thank you for your wonderful introduction, which made that bottle of wine fetch a high price. Su Ming shook hands with him. Robin's skin was actually quite delicate. This is my job, and it's my honor to serve a handsome young man like you. Robin raised his brows frivolously. Zhao Yun burst out laughing. Robin, let's get down to business. Then he leaned against Su Ming's ear and chuckled, this guy is gay. Su Ming quickly withdrew his hand. Even though I'm gay, I'm still a gay with professionalism. Robin looked unconcerned, took out the contract, and said to Su Ming, according to the agreement, the auction house charges 25% of the transaction price within $200,000, and 20% between $200,000 and $3 million. This is the final price of this auction is $580,000, so you need to pay $116,000. Since it is your first time to come to the auction house, you can get a 20% discount. Coupled with Mr. Zhao's consultant status, on the basis of the 20% discount, and you can get another 20% off, so the total commission is $74.24 million. I will delete the fraction and calculate it as $74,000. The remaining $506,000 will be converted into $100,000 according to your request. The Huaxia coins will be credited to your designated bank card within a week. It's about 3.3 million Chinese coins, Zhao Yun said. Lucky young man, according to mainland standards, you are now young and rich. Have you ever thought about how to use this money to enjoy life? If necessary, Sotheby's can provide first-class services, Robin said. First-class service also requires first-class commission. Xiao Su, ignore this English vampire and watch your wallet, Zhao Yun laughed. Su Ming also smiled slightly and rejected Robin's kindness. More than 3 million is a lot for ordinary people, but it is far from being truly rich, and far from being able to squander and enjoy life. Su Ming originally didn't care too much about money. As long as he spent enough to make his family live a better life, it was fine. After gaining the ability of an animal, he faintly felt that making money was not the most important thing, or he said that making money should not be the purpose. As long as the abilities of animal friends are continuously strengthened, wealth will definitely follow. So when he came to Xiangjiang this time, he only took 2 days off. He didn't even have the intention to go shopping. He thought that after the auction, he would quickly return to the zoo, which was his roots. One more thing. There is a customer participating in the auction who wants to meet the seller of monkey wine. Of course, this is not necessary. We have a customer confidentiality agreement. If you don't want to see him, you can refuse, Robin said. Uncle Zhao, what do you think? Su Ming asked Zhao Yun. He has more experience in the auction house than he does. There is no harm in listening to Zhao Yun's advice. We can meet each other, maybe they will become your connections in the future, Zhao Yun said with a smile. Not long after, the door of the VIP box was opened, and a middle-aged man walked in with his assistant. Su Ming was stunned. He didn't expect that the person who wanted to see him was the superstar. Haha, looking at Xiao Su's expression, I don't think you need to introduce yourself, Jackie. Zhao Yun obviously knew this Zhang Tianwang. Hello, idol, Su Ming reacted after being stunned for a moment, put away his surprised expression, and greeted Jackie with a smile. Now that I am a seller, not a fan, I don't need to make too much fuss. Zhang Suiyu did not have the radiance on the stage at this time, but seemed very casual and relaxed. He first nodded to Zhao Yun and said hello, and then said to Su Ming in Mandarin with a slightly Hong Kong flavor, just call me Jackie. I want to see you, I hope you won't be offended. Idol, you are so polite. I saw you upstairs just now. If there wasn't an auction going on, I would have rushed down to get your autograph. Su Ming also smiled. It's not too late now. Zhang Suiyu's assistant intervened with insight, then took out an old-fashioned vinyl record from his bag, held the record in both hands, and handed it to Su Ming. This is the first time we meet, a small gift is not a sign of respect. This is. Su Ming took it and saw that the record was already a few years old, but it was well preserved. The craft paper on the outside was waxed and had Zhang Suiyu's autograph on it, which was signed in 1997. Just kidding, this is a vinyl record I recorded the year I returned. However, it has not been released on the market, so it still has some collection value. Zhang Suiyu shrugged and said with a smile, I sing, act and earn money all day long. I don't have any other hobbies. I just like to collect all kinds of drinks. If Mr. Su has monkey wine in the future, can you inform me first? He smiled sheepishly and explained, the brokerage companies are all vampires. I have a hard time making money. The auctions are selling high prices all day long. I always come to the auctions to buy wine. If I spend too much money, my wife will get into trouble. I understand, it's no problem. If it happens again, I will be the first to tell you, my idol. Su Ming liked Zhang Suiyu's frank attitude. He still had some monkey wine there. Apart from what he drank, it was not difficult to get another bottle. If sold directly to Zhang Suiyu, $580,000 would definitely not be enough, but come to think of it, $300,000 is still available. However, Zhao Yun said just now that this kind of wine is rare. If he takes it out one after another, the value will definitely be greatly reduced, and it will not seem so rare, so he is not ready to take it out yet. Thank you. Zhang Sui turned to his assistant and said, Tony, leave my personal number for Mr. Su. Well, if I'm lucky enough to find him again, I'll definitely give you a call. Su Ming shook the piece of paper with the phone number in his hand at Zhang Sui. Super Zoo. Author, Yin Seg Nian Bai. Chapter 30. After chatting with Zhang Sui for a while in the VIP room, Su Ming and Zhao Yun said goodbye and left together to catch the return flight. The first time they met, Su Ming had a good impression of Zhang Sui. This superstar was not arrogant in private, and his words and deeds still showed some childishness, and at the same time, he was mature as a middle-aged man. He went out with Zhao Yun and took a taxi to the airport. Su Ming sat in the back seat, but the driver did not start the car immediately. He looked back in the rearview mirror in the front seat and said something in Cantonese. Fasten your seat belts. Traffic control in Hong Kong is very strict. Both the front and rear seats must wear seat belts. If you don't wear them and are caught by the traffic police, you can be fined up to 5,000 and detained for 1 month. Zhao Yun fastened his seat belt while translating for Su Ming. Su Ming quickly fastened his seat belt, and the driver saw this and drove away. There was no conversation along the way. After the car arrived at the airport, the driver violated the rules himself. There were too many taxis at the airport, and the driver parked in a place marked as no parking for convenience. Get off quickly, the driver said hurriedly, and this time Su Ming understood. Before getting off the taxi, a motorcycle stopped beside the taxi. The policewoman on the taxi got off the motorcycle very casually with long legs. She showed her police ID to the taxi driver, and then motioned Su Ming and Zhao Yun to get off and wait on the side. During the process, the driver was dissatisfied and cursed at the policewoman. The sentence your mother scared Su Ming. It's okay, as long as you don't attack the police, it's nothing. The driver asked the policewoman to fine quickly, and he was in a hurry to do business. Zhao Yun whispered to Su Ming. The policewoman not only didn't curse back, but also kept explaining something. In the end, although the driver was dissatisfied, he still received the ticket and drove away. You can go now. Sorry for delaying your time, the beautiful policewoman saluted Su Ming and Zhao Yun politely, saying in not very standard Mandarin. Due to the delay, it was almost time to board the plane. There were already several long queues at the boarding gate. Zhao Yun booked a first-class seat. Under the guidance of the Cathay Pacific flight attendant, the two boarded the plane directly from the VIP entrance. At 30,000 feet in the air, Su Ming recalled the scene of the driver and the female police officer just now, shook his head and muttered to himself, what a strange place. Zhao Yun thought he was talking about the convenient service of the first-class cabin, and casually said, here, as long as you have money, you can buy any service. The real wealthy class can even manipulate the regime. Su Ming shrugged his shoulders. He didn't have such ambitions. It was so tiring to manage a country. How could it be as happy as spending the day in a zoo? Otherwise, build an animal kingdom and be the boss yourself. Only in this way can you live up to the reputation of the big beast. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but laugh a little, and the corners of his mouth were tilted up. What are you grinning at? Are you so happy to make money? Zhao Yun asked inexplicably. This trip to Hong Kong actually took only 1 day. After getting off the plane, he went straight to the auction house, and then immediately returned after the auction. Zhao Yun had been pampered for many years and was used to the fatigue of the journey. After getting off the plane, he said hello to Su Ming and asked him to come to his house when he was free, and then he took a taxi and left. With more than 3 million, Su Ming was in a good mood and took a car directly back to the zoo. On the way, he was thinking, now that he had money, Could he expand the cruise business a little bit and move to the largest artificial lake in the zoo? Making money was not his main purpose, but he would not complain about having too much money. The small lake next to the waterside pavilion was too small, and he could only handle 10 cruise ships. The cruise business is booming now. According to Feng Feng, there are tourists next to the waterside pavilion from morning to night. At first, it seemed quite lively, but after a long time, Su Ming was almost noisy and couldn't even sleep in. Several cats were exhausted. Every day after get off work, they would droop their heads and line up to walk back to the Tingfeng pavilion. They would fall asleep and snore one after another, even ignoring their nature of playing and frolicking. The alligator turtle was relatively free. Except for Wang Hao's demonstration that day, no one fell into the water again. But since the TV station broadcast the footage of the alligator turtle saving people, everyone knew that there was an alligator turtle in the lake that looked ferocious, but very human. It would not hurt people but would save people. Humans are no less curious than cats, so every day many tourists throw some sausages into the water to feed the alligator turtle. There were also many naughty children who kept poking into the water with small tree trunks, and the brave ones even used fishing lines to lure the alligator turtle out. So the snapping turtle was busy avoiding human harassment every day, resisting the temptation to eat artificial food that might upset the stomach, and lived a very nervous life. Su Ming thought, while changing the venue, let the cats rest for a few days, and don't let them all go to work in the future. It's better to arrange a duty schedule. Scarcity makes things valuable. If the cats go to collect money every day, it will weaken the attraction over time. We also have to set a rule to prohibit visitors from throwing some messy food into the water, and not to catch snapping turtles, which are my private property. As soon as I returned to the zoo, before I had time to talk to Director Song, I saw Master Peng and a few workers coming hurriedly from the front. Xiao Su, hurry up, change your clothes and come with us. Master Peng also saw Su Ming and waved a long-handled net in his hand. What's wrong, dressed like this? Su Ming was stunned. He saw several people in front of him wearing thick military coats, high-top rubber shoes, gloves, and their heads and faces were wrapped in thick cloth in the hot weather. They also had windproof glasses like pilots on their faces. From a distance, they looked like chemical defense soldiers in the biochemical crisis. I don't know why a group of bees came to Xiangshan Mountain and made several beehives. We must destroy them quickly, Master Peng said. Su Ming was conscripted as a soldier just after returning. He took a set of military coats and put them on, and followed the large group to the direction of Xiangshan. There are 3 Asian black bears in Xiangshan Mountain, also called moon bears, black bears, and so on. Black bears are strong and powerful, and they are definitely bullies in the wild. But this guy has a fatal weakness, greed, to the point of not caring about his life. Bears love sweets, especially honey. Once they see a beehive in the wild, they will definitely try every means to steal the honey inside. They don't care even if they are stung by a large group of big wasps. They don't learn from their mistakes. If they suffer a loss this time, they will dig it out again next time they see a beehive. If it is really in the wild, it will be fine. At least the bear can run away. But the bear mountain in the zoo is so small. If the bear gets ahead and pokes the wasp nest, it will have nowhere to run. Bears have thick skin and flesh, so being stung a few times is no big deal, but there are many tourists in the zoo. If the bees sting people, it will be a real big trouble.